definitive what happened for the Alger to
Oh,
close?
when it closed, as the story goes, there was a rock band here, and I heard, and I wasn't here then, that they set off some little pyrotechnics and lit the curtains on fire. The fire marshal came, shut the building down, never to open again.
So before you start, does anyone want to turn around and show Jackie your buzz?
Oh, yeah. Well, can I have one of those?
We were just talking about logos.
Yeah. Oh, are you?
Nice, love it.
And I'm taking that. I'm on the team.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, yeah.
Thanks for making time.
Yeah. So Alan, you remember the sand floor?
I do remember the sand floor.
Yeah.
This is much nicer.
We
Yeah.
held a community event in here with the sand floor.
Well, in the other room, and then the bathroom was in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the sand floor.
Yeah, the portable bathroom.
Mhm.
Okay?
We're from the University of Pennsylvania.
I know.
And we
A
are,
lovely school.
the studio is about envisioning SNF3, which when we designed the studio, we didn't know that would actually come to fruition. So now that it has, it makes the work even more relevant. And so in addition to creating an updated, refreshed neighborhood framework, specifically, I've challenged students to also envision a potential future for Alger to help your work,
Yes.
as well as some infill lot strategies in the neighborhood.
Yeah. This building has not had an operational bathroom either for 30 or so years. And right behind you is a door to a bathroom, but there's been some adjustments, so it is operational, but we haven't actually used it yet. But the fact that water is in this building after all of this time, and during the streetscape is when we utilized that time to have the contractor who did all the sidewalks and all this work. We hired him, them, major, contracting to put the water line in. So they worked with DWSD and all of that, and we have water in here. It's a really big deal for an old building like this and for those who ever saw it. So I'm ecstatic about that. So, gotta have water in a building. We're gonna do mini splits in these two rooms. It was the most feasible thing to do because we can't heat the whole building at this time. So we've had to come up with solutions, which is what you guys are in school doing, finding solutions to development, right? So it's like an everyday kind of thing. And Joe knows, we don't know what is specifically gonna happen in these two rooms, but we need to generate some income, right? So that we can keep this going.
How big are these spaces?
Oh, geez, Joe, did you ask me that?
This is probably about 500
Yeah,
square
they're
feet
small.
or something.
They're small spaces, but they'll be able to generate income for us. My point to this is we needed to maintain flexibility for income. So right there, just this week, that cutout, which is gonna go to the other room, because if there was an organization or a little business that needed both rooms, we need to be able to extend that. So we're doing pocket doors there, so that if it's two businesses or whatever it turns out to be, it can be closed and locked or open if we have one entity in here. So it's kind of what we're doing right now. This space has changed a lot. It doesn't look like much to most people, but it's very exciting for us. It really is. So, do we wanna go through to this theater? Okay. So, this red is a branded color for the Alger. And we wanted something that pulls your eye in when you're coming through. And I am very into ADA compliant, so that bathroom is ADA compliant. And this is not technically an elevator, but it's called a lift, and it goes up one floor. we'll go up to the deck.
You got it. I remember you discussing this as a priority in 2018.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I mean, we're kind of not grandfathered in, so I wanna make sure that we're doing everything that's supposed to be done, and it all costs money. This little thing was about $80,000, and so I'm carrying that on my back, raising money, right? I mean, it all costs money. So I'm very happy about this, because anybody in a wheelchair, on a walker, or whatever, they can get up to our upper deck, which you'll see shortly. So let's go in here, and this is when it gets messy, guys.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think the final one we found
Space
here
is the most exciting space for me right now. It doesn't look like it would be, but, this week, the contractors are coming to put a roof on this piece right here. There's 4 or 5 roofs up there, and so it's a couple of $100,000 to put them all on, but we could chip away at it one at a time. So I don't know if you know about Duralast roofing material. You don't? It's created in like almost a one piece. And it comes and they install the whole thing. I mean, you probably could talk about it better than me, but it's kind of up to the minute roofing. It's not like roof shingle or anything like that. So, yeah. And we
Shot in
can.
the sky, yeah.
Oh, skylights all over the place. So this week, they should be starting on this. So this is the lobby to the theater, and within the next year, hopefully earlier, we want to have this white box, and we'll use it, white box. I would like to put glass back in these windows so that people can see and hear what's happening and all that. Yeah. Any suggestions you guys have along the way, certainly throw them our way. We're happy about all that, creative ideas. So we can go this way. Oops.
Nine 900 seats, 800 seats?
800. Oh, let me just tell you about these. So for years, the only way to generate income to keep the lights on and pay a drainage fee because we didn't have water, is on our marquee. We post messages every week, and it's kind of a community message board. And these letters are what you put up. You can.
Oh.
So cool. So I like to talk about cost. Nobody makes these anymore, right? So we've looked all over the country this year. No one makes them. We're buying them secondhand now because when it's plastic, when you drop them, they break. Secondhand, $40 a letter.
We should just buy a 3D printer.
Yeah.
And 3D print everything.
You know what? We had somebody that was a volunteer that said he could do it. We gave him a couple of letters and we never heard from him
Oh,
again.
man.
Okay? So,
I had to take the opportunity.
yeah, no problem.
If you're not within the U or the N, I can't see you.
And she's got a broken.
You want to get in there,
ear.
Alan?
Nah. Yeah. Great.
Has everyone seen? Okay.
There's no green room here either. And their number was, is all these little caverns down below that I think bands probably, did what they do to get ready. So I would have you take note of the light fixtures? So you can see one shiny one right over there. And a couple of years ago, we sent that out to see what it would look like when it was stripped and polished. And we really want to keep them all. We want to keep as much of this theater inside that we can. And it's not big and showy like a lot of other theaters, but we kind of like it, you know? Sort of a basic kind of theater. So, do you guys need, I mean, I don't think you guys need to go up there, but unless you want to, it's,
So what was the significance of the red again?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's just been here forever.
Got it.
And so it's branded and it grew on us, those of us that are on
Absolutely.
this board now. So we've sort of stayed with it. And we really like how we've painted the back wall of the places that we've painted, because when you're driving on Outer Drive and you know, going past the theater, you can see that color just like pulls your
Absolutely.
eye right in. I want live performances.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
that's a
I-
good stage.
Yeah, and I want to work with young people to teach them about theater and all the jobs that happen in the theater, not just like the stars and the actors, but there's lots of jobs behind the scenes, right?
Jackie, remind me, I like my version of what happened here, but I think, is there a definitive what happened for the Alger to
Oh,
close?
when it closed, as the story goes, there was a rock band here, and I heard, and I wasn't here then, that they set off some little pyrotechnics and lit the curtains on fire. The fire marshal came, shut the building down, never to open again.
And I like my version
Go
better. My version that I always heard was there was a showing of Friday the 13th,
We're
Nightmare
gonna
on Elm
see the
Street.
we're gonna see the real
You know,
upstairs.
Nightmare on Elm Street. And during that, there was a fight that broke out, and someone was smoking a cigarette and caught the curtains on fire, and that's what closed down the Alger. But I think either way, you
There,
know,
but there
very
was some
similar.
sort of fire, okay, we would agree with that. And the film was Freaky Friday Part 5.
Oh.
And it's upstairs, it's still in the reel. So let's go upstairs and
Happy
take a look.
Halloween, everybody.
Yeah.
Part 5.
So, yeah.
It's just the one with you.
It's, yeah.
Oh, is it up here?
No, no, they're all down here, but that light switch, and there's one right outside the room, is that one on?
Flip that one on for us.
Yeah.
Could be the lights out too.
Oh, I was up here last week.
Uh-oh.
Okay, we won't do that one. Okay, put your phones on this. This is.
Flashlights on.
Whoa. This is incredible.
This is all original. This is the last movie that was shown, Freaky Friday. Yeah.
Do you know about these tickets?
Oh, yeah, there's all kinds of stuff in here, yeah,
Do you want to keep these somewhere safe?
we should,
Yeah. I found them in the little like
yeah,
circular safe thingy
I know.
in the projector room, so I'll leave them there.
So, yeah, so this is the original equipment, the last film, we've got lots of reels over there, and this is the original, whatever you call it, to show it. It's really kind of curious that all these little windows are there that people would look out of. In the next room, this was a for-profit theater originally, and the next room over is where the family sat, of the owner, and watch the movies from there, like a big luxurious like thing that's that
It's so
small.
far away though.
Yeah. It's kind of funny.
Sorry,
Sorry.
I'm not just splashing people back.
All right. Clinton, who you saw, and they were supposed to have these all on the, and missed the best one. Yeah.
Hey, how do you get this shot before?
I haven't.
Yeah. We're building. So these are exterior directors, but I need to have a female director. So Ava DuVernay is over there. I wanted to put her in the middle, and Desiree Kelly said no, she has to be by herself. So that's sort of the way it is. We just had work done on the parapet of this building because the roof couldn't go on till there was some shoring up of, all of the parapet and the wall. So we did that.
Who else is on the Friends of the Alger board? Is it generally community members or people just interested in historic preservation?
So, okay, that's an interesting question because it used to be just about anybody, but what has happened, in my opinion, is that people get on the board and it sounds like really nice to be on a board, but they don't know how to do anything or fundraise or move anything forward. So I kind of stopped that. We only have 3.5 board members. Our treasurer technically is not a board member anymore, but he's involved in everything here. So I'm the one who's really pushing this forward really hard. This was a nice addition. It was never like that. There were, in this space, originally, there were 4 tiny little stores. So if you imagine the first room that you walked in, that was 2 stores.
Wow.
Can you believe it? A jewelry store. There was no place for storage. A shoe store. We have an old picture in the window, and I can't remember what the other 2 were, but they were like very tiny. And it wasn't a time when you didn't need lots of cars, like the parking that we need now didn't have to exist then. But, it was a neighborhood place that people walked up to. So it kind of is what was going on. And so we have to transition many years later to making this viable. And we need to generate income. So that's a big thing. I'm hoping during the holiday that we'll be having a pop-up. We had a pop-up last year. And Joe knows who was our pop-up. Next Chapter Books.
Yeah.
And they're down the street now. They tested out the neighborhood. Were you guys at Next Chapter Books already?
Yeah, we've only gone 2 blocks so far.
Oh, and they're the greatest. You're gonna love them in their bookstore. That was what, a 20-year dream for this couple. They're such a great addition to here, in our neighborhood. So
What's your relationship to the library next door?
I have a really good relationship with them. When we've been in the middle of construction and it's not viable here, we move over to this. We've collaborated with them on little events in the alley. Alger in the alley is what we call it. So, we have a great relationship with the Detroit Public Library. Yeah. So, it's a good thing. Gotta love your neighbors. I don't pay myself in this. What I do is keep the money for the Alger Theater, and so everything that I've showed you that's new has been funded by,
By your volunteer labor.
yeah,
that has
I guess so.
gotten dollars,
Yeah.
Which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is.
Well, you gotta do it somehow. I'm very determined. Joe knows that, so you have to find a way and keep rethinking,
Yeah.
what you're doing and what's the next thing that can happen.
Yeah.
occasionally we get a donation, but not too
Yeah.
much.
Well-
So, yeah.
So what's been the challenge? I mean, I would assume that foundations would throw money at something
Okay, Joe
like this.
knows this, programming.
Right, so.
Programming.
So it's essentially, what is this gonna be when it grows up? That's essentially what people wanna see, so how's it gonna run, how's it gonna function, how's it gonna
Right.
operate? So those pieces, it's really easy to say, this is how we're going to renovate the theater.
Yeah.
It's a whole nother
The
thing
next step.
to say, well, this, like, it's gonna be a center for arts and culture, and these are gonna be the partners, and this is how it could actually function, and this is how it could all work symbiotically, right? And so, like, a theory I've had is, like, what if the western, the eastern side of the building actually became more retail units too? So if you had 4 or 5 retail units in the space, that might be enough to cash flow a loan, or at least part of a loan where there would be a gap that SNF could fill or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, the Alger isn't looking to be a full-fledged operational theater with you running the theater, correct?
Yeah, no.
So if the Alger still wants to own the building, but the programming is all happening from other entities, how does that work? And I think that's where
That's the
where we've kind of hit a wall, trying to figure out, like, what do we need to do to actually get this over this hump to actually be a viable project and actually see dollars come in, instead of Jackie just doing a ton of applications and putting all of her work in and just doing it in an incremental way. So that's I think what the challenge has been.
Yeah.
Well said.
So it's a lot of hard work, but until we have some pieces and parts, I have to keep
Pushing.
bringing money in, pushing, reinventing the pieces, and we've been doing it piece by piece. Like the roof part of that lobby is, for me, incredible, because it's been like a 35-year odyssey, and rain coming in all the time.
Yeah.
So we don't have $200,000, but maybe at a point when that's on and the work we've done, some funders will see, for capital improvements, that they would help us a little bit.
It's such a, if I may, like a true Detroit story of, Detroiter committed to the neighborhood, willing to put in this sweat equity,
Yeah,
scrape by with whatever resources you can find, and then now taking it to that next scale, you're
Yeah.
saying, where how do you tap into local institutions, be they
exactly.
the philanthropic community or partnering with the city, whatever, to sort of scale up.
Exactly.
And that's the
Yeah. So I should tell you that I've lived in this neighborhood almost 40 years. So I've seen lots of changes here. And I never had been inside of this theater until like maybe 6 years ago.
Wow.
It had just totally been shuttered. And one of the board members that was here at the time, I was the president of the Morningside Community Organization, and he came to a meeting and said, "Oh, you should come to one of our meetings for the Alger Theater." And I said, "Oh, I don't know why, but I'm really busy." Anyway, I came, I sat down, they voted me onto this board. I thought,
And she's been stuck here ever
did
since.
I get hijacked? So I was here for almost 3 years under a different president, and I was ready to take myself off the board, because if you're not doing anything, I don't have a lot of interest. And the president that was here came off the board, and the board secretly behind my back voted me as the president. And I'm like, how does this keep happening to me? So it's just kind of a crazy story. So here I am. So I've been the president, I think this is my 4th year,
Yeah,
Joe.
I think we were talking about it in 2021.
Yeah.
Finishing up the plan.
Yeah,
Well,
so,
thank you, Jackie.
So
so that's
you're a
kind
true
of that
testament.
wacky story.
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you care the most, you end up getting the most responsibility,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, some people have said that to me, I do know that, yeah. And everybody will let you take that responsibility. That's the thing, this is a volunteer organization, and we never have enough volunteers. So, it's just that story.